everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this is the 10.5-inch iPad Pro. I've been using it since the day it came out. That's about 3 weeks ago now, and I've been using it every single day as what I use for my main computing device. Let's take a look at the price, and then we'll talk about the actual design and specs and different things like that. So the first thing is, this is not an inexpensive device. It starts with 64 gigabytes of storage. It's not upgradable anywhere else other than what you buy it with. So you've got 64 gigabytes at $649. You can bump that up to 256 for $749. That's what I have. And then we have the 512 gigabyte for $949. Now, if you'd like to add cellular data, put another $130 on top of that, and you can have cellular data. You also can buy it in silver, gold, rose gold, and what I have is space gray. So it's not inexpensive, but it's a really very good iPad. The design is very typical of iPad, not much different. We have our Touch ID at the bottom. It's the latest Touch ID. It's plenty fast. If I turn it off here, turn it back on, it's right back up. They've changed the bezels to make the screen bigger, but it's not really that much bigger of a device compared to the previous iPad Pro, the 9.7 inch. It's got good edge detection and palm rejection. So if I put my finger here, you can see my thumb on the left is not doing anything. But if I scroll with the finger on the right, it's still moving, and it recognizes that's really what I want to do. So it's good for watching movies, reading books, news, whatever you want to do. It's pretty good for that, and just holding it like this, your hand doesn't tend to get in the way with this. Now, the design, like I said, is very typical of iPad. We have a new display that's 10 inches, and this 10.5 inch display comes in at 1668 by 2224 pixels, and it's 265 pixels per inch. It's also got this new ProMotion display setup, which means it goes up to 120 hertz. So it goes from 30 to 60 to 120 depending on what you're doing, and that really helps with Apple Pencil input and speed. Your finger feels attached to the display. If you put your finger down on an older iPad, you might see a little bit more lag when you move left to right. With this one, it feels like if I grab the settings app and move, my finger's right there with it the whole time. It's like I put my finger down and moved a piece of paper around. It feels that fast. Now, the design, again, is similar on the front, or familiar on the front. On the back, we have the same camera finally that's in the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. So we have optical image stabilization. We have their very nice 12 megapixel camera with their f1.8 lens. It's 4K video, great pictures, just like you get in the iPhone. And it's about time that they put this on an iPad. We have our typical volume buttons here on the side. We've got 4 speakers all the way around, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, so when you're watching it in landscape mode, it's got great sound, and it's loud sound. It's as loud as the previous version, if not louder. You also have a lightning cable on the bottom. Now, it charges in a few hours. It does take a while to charge this device. I did a separate video on fast charging it versus regular charging it, so I'll link that here so you can check that out and see for yourself the differences. But typically with the charger that's included, you're going to take about 4 hours to charge this device. From 0 to 10%, you're going to take around 4 hours to get a full charge out of it, and it's going to last you all day. 10 hours if you're just watching video. If you're looking at web pages, things like that, it's not going to really use a whole lot of data or antennas and things while you're doing that, so you're going to get about 10 hours of usage, just like any other iPad before it. Now, as far as the specs go internally, we have Apple's newer A10X Fusion processor along with 4 gigabytes of RAM. And while 4 gigabytes may not seem like it's a lot on the computer side, it's plenty for a tablet. This never really feels slow whatsoever. So if I open up a browser here, turn sideways, and then maybe we slide in on split view. Let's see what we can bring up here. We could just bring up the App Store. We could bring up a video, do picture in picture. Everything is just smooth and fast, and what you would expect from a really high-end iPad Pro. Now, if I slide this back over, maybe we go into iMovie. We'll bring this up. This is a movie I made earlier. I put it together. We'll go into edit, and I'll show you. I put this together on the iPhone iOS 10.3.3 beta 6 that came out, and you'll see it's very quick. This is 4K video from an iPhone 7 Plus. It's easily editable, and then if I want to share it, I can simply hit done, go to share, save, 4K, and this will compress this video as fast or faster than the brand new quad-core i7 iMacs or MacBooks. It's unbelievable how fast this actually compresses. You can see it's going right now, and if I slide in from the side, I can go to my web browser and use whatever I want, and nothing slows down. It's unbelievable how fast this device is. So we'll go out of this for now, and I'll show you the input of the pencil. Now, I did a separate video for this as well to show you the 120 hertz of the fast display on here. It's hard to really see because we're recording at about 30 frames per second, but I did a slow-mo version of it, and it's called Apple ProMotion, and I did ProMotion in slow motion so you could see it, the new display versus the old one, and I'll link that here so you can take a look at it. But if I go into Notes, and you'll see I wrote something here, I'll hit Erase All, and maybe I'll grab the pencil, I'll grab blue, and I'll write zollotech. It's very fast. It feels just like you're writing on paper itself. It never feels slow whatsoever. If I go to black here, you'll see I can write, and it just keeps up with exactly what I want to do when I want to do it. It's just that quick. If I go into paper, you'll see here's some watercolor we're just messing around with earlier. Everything is unbelievably responsive. It's almost like what you would want the fastest computer you can imagine to be, and it just keeps up with you. And that's the amazing thing about it. Now, the other thing is, obviously, can we do pro things on this? And yes and no. I think when we see iOS 11, that's when we're going to see the majority of things that are really pro. And hopefully with iOS 11, Apple brings along some pro apps like Logic or Final Cut Pro. Right now we have Affinity Photo. I don't have that on here, but Affinity Photo, Procreate, these are pro apps that you can use on this device and do real work. Pixelmator's pretty good as well, and something like Final Cut Pro or Logic would really kind of wrap that whole package up and let us use what we want. Even a Premiere would be great on here, and you could handle it with this particular device. And that's probably the only negative I can think of other than price is we don't have true pro apps, and this is made for iOS 11. We're just waiting for that to come along so we can use this as our main device. It's that fast. This could be a really good replacement for anyone's computer, especially when we can do that sort of work with drag and drop and file management, things like that. The other negative as well is the smart covers. Smart covers, you're going to have to buy a new one because this is a little bit bigger, and the smart covers from the previous devices won't fit on here. That's not the case with a 12.9 inch. You can kind of use those interchangeably, but you do have the smart connector on the bottom that you can use with the keyboard and some of Logitech's keyboards as well, and those are all really great. So if we see a Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, Xcode, this could be the next big thing as far as computing for the majority of people. Now, some people are going to want a traditional keyboard and mouse, and that's fine, but this is fast enough and I think easy enough to use that most people would want to use this. One thing I almost forgot to mention is its Geekbench score. Geekbench on this device comes in at 3859 and 9266 for multi-core. If you're familiar with Geekbench, you'll know that these scores are high enough to put it up in the ranks with Core i7 based MacBook Pros of a couple years ago. So it's that fast, but in an iPad with one processor, 3 cores, and 4 gigabytes of RAM. It's really that good. After using it for 3 weeks, it's the device I'm going to keep going back to. I do like the larger size of the newer iPad Pros better, this size, and especially the 12.9. Either one of those are a great choice. It's just what size you prefer. But either one of them are basically the exact same inside and definitely worth checking out. I'd love to hear what you think of the new iPad Pro in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.